entire army thirsty for your blood.
The man with a British accent heard in Islamic State execution videos since last August, Jihadi John as he came to be known, has been identified as Mohammed Emwazi. Born in Kuwait and raised in London, Mr. Emwazi has been a person of interest to British intelligence officials since at least 2009. Much of what's now known about Mr. Emwazi's journey to becoming a killer and propagandist for ISIS comes from Asim Qureshi. He's the research director for CAGE, an advocacy group that campaigns against the war on terror.
The Mohammed that I knew was extremely kind, extremely gentle, extremely soft-spoken.
Mr. Qureshi tells the Journal he interacted with Mr. Emwazi over several years. The last time he saw him was in 2012. The same year Mr. Emwazi traveled to Syria. What happened before then? Mr. Emwazi graduated from the University of Westminster in central London in 2009. That summer, he and two of his friends tried to visit Tanzania. But upon arrival, Mr. Emwazi and his friends were detained by border control and put on a plane to Amsterdam. There, and back in the UK, he was interrogated by British intelligence. They suspected he was on his way to Somalia to join up with the al-Qaeda-linked terrorist group Al-Shabaab. According to Mr. Qureshi, British intelligence then tried to recruit him as an informer, but he refused. Later, he goes to live in Kuwait, where he'd stayed for 8 months working for a computer company. But in 2010, while on a trip back to the UK, he's interrogated and told he can't return to Kuwait, where Mr. Qureshi says he was planning to get married. Mr. Qureshi of CAGE says he believes that Mr. Emwazi and his parents were harassed and intimidated by British intelligence agencies. Mr. Emwazi, he says, filed a complaint against the police for his treatment. Then, in 2012, Mr. Emwazi fled his family home. Mr. Qureshi says he spoke to Mr. Emwazi's parents after the news broke that their son was Jihadi John, and they were in shock. Though he arrived in Syria in 2012, precisely how, when, and why Mr. Emwazi joined ISIS remains unknown. That's the short answer.